Now we're going to be talking about the spinal nerves together with the spinal cord and the meninges. Let's start first with the meninges. So right over here, the outer layer, this one over here, maybe it's best to see right over here. This is your dura mater. That means that the other membrane is going to be the arachnoid mater. So in between there's a line that represents a space. That's the subdural cavity, which makes sense because it's under the dura mater. Then this membrane here is the pia mater. You can see how it's hugging the spinal cord. So there's a space right over here. This space represents the subarachnoid cavity or subarachnoid space. And that's it for the meninges. Let's talk about the spinal cord now. So how do we know what's anterior from what's posterior? The first thing I think that's easy for me is this line over here. You can see how there's a bigger space over here between the white matter. So this bigger space is called a fissure, and therefore it's called the anterior median fissure. Therefore, the one in the posterior side is called the posterior median sulcus. So the sulcus is a little bit narrower than the fissure. The other way for you to know if it's anterior or posterior is because this is a vertebrae. You can look on the back and you can see the spine, spinous process of the vertebrae. So this represented here in brown is the gray matter, represented in white is the white matter. The gray matter can be divided into posterior gray horn, lateral gray horn, anterior gray horn. So these are the little things that stick out here on the gray matter. Here in the middle we have the central canal, and I guess this is it for talking about the spinal cord. There is a structure here in the middle. That's this little thing that sticks out right over there, which is the denticulate ligament that holds the spinal cord in place. You have one on this side, one on the other side, right over there, and one on the posterior end, right over there. The spinal nerves are the yellow. So every time you talk about nerves are yellow, and you have, of course, both of them on both sides. This bumpy part here is the dorsal root ganglion. So you know that's dorsal because it has a ganglion, so dorsal root ganglion. Therefore, this is the dorsal root. And then this is the ventral root, and it doesn't have a ganglion, so all of this is the ventral root. Then when you come over here, you can see how it branches off. So this will be your dorsal ramus, and this is your ventral ramus. From the ventral ramus, it will communicate to the sympathetic ganglion, which is another bulky part here at the end. So sympathetic ganglion. So it communicates through the rami communicantis.